If you split your focus too much, you won't be spectacular at anything. But if you hold off, sacrifice opportunities or declutter, find the focus and go all in on one, then that's a way that you can maximize your chances of success. Success is freedom to pursue my goals. It's financial freedom, the ability to do what I want with my time and help those who need it.
Hello and welcome to a very exciting episode of the Need to Succeed podcast, where we have incredible conversations with phenomenal entrepreneurs just to understand what is their need to succeed. Because here's the thing, two people can go through the exact same situation. One person decides because of that situation, they can no longer achieve the things that they want to achieve in life. And because of the same situation, the other person decides that they absolutely have to achieve everything that they have ever dreamt about. Same situation, different outcome. What is the mindset of the successful individuals? That is exactly what we look to uncover on this podcast. And today, I have an absolutely incredible guest. It is such a pleasure, a joy, and honor to have this man in my seat, because it wasn't too long ago that we were sat down and planning out what is the future going to look like. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the property Don, Mr. Don Jeevy.
Thank you for having me, mate. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mate, I'm super excited. I'm buzzing. How was that introduction, though?
Fantastic, phenomenal. Yeah, I've been itching to be on this thing for, well, however long it's been going.
But honestly, I'm super excited to be here because, this was a target. This was a goal. This was a goal attached to development and growth, right? Like, you know what? Let's get you on here. Let's make it happen. But, you've got to achieve some stuff in your life, right? You got to achieve these goals, and the speed at which you've done it is just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm sure as we sort of got along, we're gonna get to that. But we do have a tradition on the podcast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know though, because I know you watch this here. So this might be a little bit of a cheat. You might have rehearsed this answer already. I don't know, right? But we're gonna find out. So the first question is, what does success actually mean to you?
Success is freedom to pursue my goals. It's financial freedom, the ability to do what I want with my time and help those who need it.
Okay. I'm going to assume, this is going to be difficult, I'm going to assume that I don't know you, right? Because I know when you talk about your goals, you talk about helping those who need it. I think with other people, I might not really understand. It's the first time I'm getting to know them. But with you, I just know that to be so true, like to who you are. And I know a lot of the reasons why you're doing this thing. So, but, hopefully as we go along, we can really just unpack that, for everyone else. But just talk to me about that, because it's not typical. The freedom stuff, cool. The financial freedom, like, of course, that's what a lot of people say, and they mean it for different reasons. But when you say like to help other people, that's outside of yourself. Like, why is that one of the first things that come to you?
It goes back about 5 or 6 years. Until this point, this was during my first year of university. I didn't really have a goal in life. I was kind of drifted along. I signed up to a business management degree at university because I figured it was so general. I could go into any industry. It would give me some time to extend my adolescence, figure out what I wanted to do, where I was going, find some kind of passion, because until that point, I didn't really have any passions that I properly stuck with. And I decided to go vegan after seeing some things, learning some stuff. Basically came to the conclusion that we can live a happy, healthy life without harming animals. And in doing so, find greater health in many cases, and also create a more sustainable ecological future. There's just so many pros to this lifestyle change, and it's such a simple shift. It's as simple as like moving our hand to the oat milk instead of the dairy milk. Like, for such a small shift in behaviors and lifestyle habits, we can make such a huge impact on this planet. And that's what motivated me. It's my life purpose to share this message, to inspire other people and help the animals who are suffering so greatly right now.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, not that interesting, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. I completely get it. But, we can't miss like the details. Yeah. Because you've said, you saw some things, you had some experiences, like just like, do you want to enlighten us a little bit more about, what, because this is a shift. I've been a vegan myself, right? I know, we've spoken about this before. I did it for, just about a year. It ain't easy, right? But I also understand the reasons why I went on that journey, right? And it's not something that you just wake up and say, I'm going to do this vegan thing, all right? Yeah. So like, what was it, what was your experience that led you to this path?
The first thing that I can recall, because there were probably some things that I experienced and just they subconsciously influenced me. But the first thing I can consciously remember is my flatmate in my first year of university. He ate a veggie burger one evening, and bear in mind he wasn't vegetarian or vegan, but he was eating a veggie burger. And I was like, mate, what are you doing? You're a meat eater. What are you eating vegetarian burgers for? And he said, you don't need to eat meat every day, And that kind of got me thinking, well, do we even need to eat it at all? And then a few more things happened, just got exposed to some things that someone had shared online. Particularly notable is this vegan activist guy who's quite prolific, goes by the name of Joey Carbstrong. He was up against two presenters on Good Morning TV and two dairy farmers. So 4 non-vegan people versus him. And as much as I really wanted to find some hole in his argument to validate my lifestyle, to justify continuing as I had been going, I couldn't, in good faith, find a hole in his argument. I dug through his content online. I watched lots of videos trying to debunk his argument. But the more I watched, the more I realized, man, this guy's got a point.
Interesting. Okay, cool. I like that. So let's just, because what we try to do on this podcast is understand what is the things that makes people successful. And I mean, just to kind of give some context, you're in the property space and, you have in the last 12 months, I mean, it's less than 12 months, but let's just say 12 months just to put some sort of time span on it, right? Has been incredible, the growth that you've had, right? And this is why I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's hit this target and let's get you in. And the time span in which you've done that has been incredible. But nonetheless, there's something within people that makes them who they are, that makes them have the mindset, because you're not the first only person who I've coached and mentored. You're not going to be the last, but a lot of people, at a previous company where I was at, I've seen hundreds of students come through, and 99% of them haven't actually achieved the success that you've done, right? So there's something that makes people become successful, right? But I want to understand your wiring. And so that means we've got to go back and understand your story a little bit, understand a little bit about your journey. So if I say like, who was Don back at school, like, who were you?
Back then I was Aaron. I changed my name when I started the business, but
it's a good name, the property Don. Come on. And that Don comes from your surname Donnelly, right?
Yeah, that's right. I figured it was just a branding decision, but back to your question, who was I back in school? I went to 3 different secondary schools. First one, messed around quite a bit. I didn't do my homework very often. I didn't conform to the things that they wanted me to do. And I struggled to fit in as well. I was a bit of an outcast. I like to have fun and do my own thing and explore my own interests. And I didn't get into the sixth form. It was a grammar school. They had high standards for sixth form, and I didn't quite pass that bar. So that forced me into a decision. If I wanted to do sixth form, I had to find another school. And I found one that took me on. And that was a rough year. I found that when I went to that school, I struggled even harder to fit in because I'd moved into the school and there were already these pre-established friend groups who had known each other for 5 years. I drifted around between lots of them, and I had some friends, but no like large friend groups that I felt like I could properly identify with. But then I moved on to another school because I failed that year. So my first year of sixth form didn't do very well, and then moved on to another school. And that was kind of a school for outcasts. That was like the last choice. It was a new concept school. They had A-levels and B-Tech options. And I fit right in there. I was friends with like everyone.
Everyone was a miscreant.
Yeah, and I did well. I did what I needed to do and got into uni.
What was the difference?
There was more focus on the individuals. There were smaller classes. I got more attention with the teachers. And I think the kind of demographic that was attracted to that school, I clicked with better, and I was happier overall. And I felt like I could just get on with the work.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because I've had so many entrepreneurs on that chair, and a lot of them, it's, I didn't really get on well at school. I didn't really fit in. I didn't really want to be told what to do. And it's never a case of not really being told what to do. It's just a case of people don't understand. And there's this almost authoritarianism in school, right? Like, it's this way or the highway. And, for people who want to be creative, I don't mean creative as in painters or musicians. I mean just creative. I want to think outside the box. It's really difficult in those environments. Hence why a lot of people who go on to be business owners and successful, where they can think outside the box and get rewards for it, that just didn't manifest itself in school, right? So that's where those people kind of suffered, if that made sense. And it seems like you had a similar thing. So that's why I was asking, so do you think the difference is when you went to this school full of, people like yourself, shall I say? There was just that, was there more flexibility? Was there more, okay, you know what? We understand you, and because they can spend a bit more time with you, they understand you better, which means they give you a little bit more rope because they understand, okay, this kid is not just being a miscreant just for the sake of it. It's actually because this is what he's thinking. Okay, well, now I understand him. I can give him a bit more rope to actually explore. Was it something like that? Or
Sure, the way they operated was completely different. The teachers had more empathy. They didn't have a punishment structure as such. They had a reward structure, which meant that you were incentivized positively rather than out of fear.
And that's so much more positive. I was actually watching an interview with Jay Shetty and Tony Robbins yesterday, and exactly they were talking about that. Like, positive reinforcement is much better than negative one. But it's much easier to just don't do that. You shouldn't be doing that. You're gonna get punished for that, as opposed to actually just kind of almost ignoring those negatives. But then when someone does something positive, just go over the top with the, oh my goodness, that was so great. That was really, really incredible. Because now, I remember yesterday. So I'm teaching my daughter Yoruba. I just speak Yoruba, right? So we've got this book. So Yoruba is like a Nigerian dialect. It's one of the most popular ones. Right? If you live in Lagos and you can't speak Yoruba, life is going to be difficult. Yeah? So people could literally be talking about how they're going to mug you off right in front of you and you wouldn't even know what's going on, right? So I was teaching her Yoruba. And then there was this word that she said, but the one thing that I am a little bit conscious of is the pronunciations, the phonetics. I want her to get those phonetics now, because the older you get, there's like bo, be, like all of this, like a lot of people can't say that, but because I've grown up in Nigeria, I can say that. And so I want her to have those phonetics so she doesn't lose it. So there was a particular word that she said. It was like cassava. I think it was like bagbola, right? And she said it just boom. I was like, yo, give her like a massive clap, like, and the joy in her, she couldn't contain herself. She was like, this, like, and then I got her mum in. I'm like, hey, come listen to us as I said that word again. And she said it again. Her mum was like, oh my God. And like, I could see she couldn't contain herself with the joy, right? That's like positive reinforcement. So guess what? Next time we open up the book, she's going to want to say those type of words, right? Because she knows like she gets it right and we're going to go crazy. And that's what people react to, as opposed to, you're not saying that right. Stop saying that. Stop doing that. I'm not even interested in that anymore, right?
Sure. Yeah, the punishment structure is a more traditional approach. You think back 100 years ago in school, they'd slap you and who knows what else. But yeah, it's... this school was very different.
Not 100 years ago, man. I was still getting slaps. Like, you know what I mean? It worked for me. I'm not going to lie. Listen, there's going over the top, but there's also like, listen, you need a bit of discipline. You know what I'm saying? You got to be over the line, get a little slap around the back of the head, maybe even your bum back in Nigeria and all of that. And there's discipline, which I do feel there is a little bit of that missing in this day and age. I'm not saying you have to be physical, But I feel like there's just that lack of discipline, amongst this newer generation, and it's manifesting itself in a lot of nonsense that we're actually seeing in society. But I digress. let's come back to it. So okay, cool. So you've gone to this sixth form school. You've seen a different way. It's actually been really positive for you, and now you've gone to uni, right?
Yep.
So you said you just went. You did business at uni because you felt like it would. I did business, but I actually found it to be really flipping generic. And I did business in '08. When massive recession happened, I was thinking, actually, that's why I dropped out of uni. I'm like, listen, I need to go and try to learn business instead of studying business. How did you find it?
Well, I studied business through a BTEC course in that school, and I just really enjoyed it. I clicked with it. I understood the concepts. It was intuitive for me, and I'd had previous experience in my own personal business ventures before, albeit small. Got a paper round when I was 13, a job, not really a business, but then as I went through the years, I would buy and sell things on eBay and kind of upsell, trade things. And,
Why were you doing that?
Money.
Okay.
Freedom.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone wants money, but not everyone does that. So what was driving you to do that?
It just seemed like it was a glaringly obvious thing. Like Black Friday hits and hard drives drop from 200 to 100 pounds. I buy them at 100 pounds and I sell them for a big increase. Maybe not the 200 pound figure just because I wanted to ship them fast, but even so, made a good profit doing that kind of thing.
So that was just intuitive to you. That was just, well, actually, you know what? I can make a bit of money. There's Black Friday. I've got some change. Let me shop around, see what people really going to want anyway. I'll buy them cheap and then I'll wait for a couple of weeks and then sell them back off again.
Precisely that, yeah.
Yeah, and that just came natural to you.
Yeah, I just spotted it. Like I noticed that hard drives were selling and buying at different prices based on the different memory and stuff like that. And it was like I was leaving money on the table through maybe 10 minutes of work. If you count ordering something up, when you make the listing and it sells, you got to package it, post it. Not much work at all for a significant increase.
I like that. It's just weird. I never actually did a lot of those little things that I heard a lot of entrepreneurs did when they were younger. I mean, I guess I did. Now I'm thinking about it. Not any legal terms, but I guess yes, that was my venture. But I never started like little businesses and things like that until really later on. Because I just once I'd gone through my struggles and I'd come out of it, I just went more into like the corporate world and just made money kind of that way, really. But okay, cool. So you've gone to uni. You're still doing business at a higher level now.
Yeah.
And then, you've had this experience, veganism, all of this type of thing. But first of all, how was uni for you?
Uni was all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I went to a few different social things. Found that, because I went vegan within 4 months, I struggled to fit in with most people that weren't vegan. It was like, my flatmates, for example, when I learned about these things that led me to make that decision, I logically concluded that surely any reasonable person who sees this kind of stuff would make the same decision. But funnily enough, they didn't want to see slaughter footage in the kitchen when they were making their bacon sandwiches. So I had to find other people who
That's
would...
interesting.
Yeah, my approach was perhaps a bit forceful but passionate. Like I just wanted to make a good change in the world and inspire people to do a good thing. And I decided that I need to find people who are receptive, open to conversations, who will approach me wanting to talk about the stuff. And that led me into street demonstrations, street activism.
Interesting. That is very, very interesting. I remember a friend of mine when I turned vegan, because there's just that propensity when you turn vegan to want to educate everyone, like shove it in their face. Do you know what I mean? Because there is almost like a righteous nature to it, because you're like, I'm right. Like what are you lot doing? Can you not kind of see from my point of view? But I remember a friend of mine just saying to me, like, look, always just give yourself a way back. Right? Don't get so stuck in that you feel like there isn't a way back for you, sort of thing. So I always remember that, and I'm always grateful for him for that. Obviously, I've come back now to eating meat and stuff like that. Don't kill me. But do you feel like there's that there is that? Okay, I'll give you an example. So my mom makes chili sauces, She makes chili sauces. So, when she first started the business, it's unfortunate I don't have the time to do that now. But, back then I used to go with her to all of these shows, so she would go to shows, markets and all these sort of things and obviously sell the sauces. And there was this one that we went to, was it Olympia? I think it was Olympia. Olympia, you have they clear it all and they got all the different foods and all these sort of things. Yeah, I'm talking about.
The other week, actually.
Yeah, exactly that. So she had a store there. And then there was this vegan store, all right? I don't listen, you might agree with this, I don't know, but I'm just saying from an outside perspective, at this point, was I vegan then? I was either a vegan or I had just come out of being a vegan. My sister's not vegan, my mom's not vegan. Like, we're Nigerians, man, we're like carnivores, do you know what I mean? But there was this store there and they had a hoodie, and on the hoodie it said, if you drink, I think it's like if you eat meat, no. It was about wool. So if you wear wool jackets, I hope you die screaming too. Like that's what it was saying. I was like, you're not really gonna get some fans from like, you know what I'm saying, this like from this approach, right? Like, what was your view on that?
I think that approach can work on some people. It depends on the person, how they receive information. Like the person who influenced me was, I wouldn't say forceful. Some describe him as aggressive, but it's just like he uses very accurate, explicit language and doesn't beat around the bush. But for some people, vegan recipes and being happy and smiley and it just depends on the person how they accept the message.
Yeah, I agree. But I think more people will accept it in a more sort of way, because people, like, it's like you being in school, right? You didn't like teachers telling you what to do, right? Or trying to make you feel a certain way. It's like a similar thing. It's like, well, listen, the whole concept of it, and I get it. I don't even have any beef towards like I'm vegans because I've done it. I understand it. I still believe all of those things to be true, but it's just really difficult for me because I didn't spend enough time understanding the nutrition side of it. And then when it came to actually, wanting to start a family, things like that, I'm like, well, I'm not going to risk that because I don't understand it myself enough yet, and I don't want to pass that on to, my future, essentially. So I still hold those beliefs to be true. So understandable. It's like how you coerce people to kind of join you. I think just be a little bit softer, just, encourage just a little bit of information here and there and just play the long game, right? Because I think people are more conscious in general anyway. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
Now. But cool, man.
On that note, just to finish that off, I think what goes through people's minds when they use more aggressive language and things like that is the urgency of the situation, like the sheer quantity of beings that are going through these experiences right this moment. They feel they don't have time to take the gentle approach because it won't have such a big impact. And it's rationalized by saving lives.
Yeah. So that's how it manifests itself.
Yeah,
I understand that. Cool, man. All right, cool. So let's so you're at uni, you've had this lapse in your experience. I mean, first of all, I have to rate you, bro, because I was like, this guy's militant. Remember, I used to joke with you back then, right? Because we actually first met at a different coaching company.
Yeah.
And do you remember what I said to you when we first met?
Which part?
Right. Well, when we sat down, I said, you're going places. Like, then that was the first time I met you. And I'm like, you're going places. I knew it. And I said it to my colleagues as well. This kid is smart. He's going places. Do you know what I mean? But then I remember, obviously, then we added ourselves on Facebook. And then I started seeing videos of you, like, on the streets, in flipping McDonald's. I'm like, this guy's crazy. Like,
Oh, yeah, I did a speak out at McDonald's. I got my McPlant burger and I was like, hey, everyone, this is delicious vegan burger. You can get it. Save the animals. Better for the world.
Man, that was hilarious. I found that really, really hilarious. But also, it says something about you, about confidence, about character. Do you know what I'm saying? About, if you have a focus on something, you want to achieve something, because not a lot of people want to do that. There's vegans who won't do that. That's like crazy. Like, it was like, I'll just do my vegan and stuff. I'll buy, the vegan cruelty-free clothes, but I'm not going to go and do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is that? So that says a lot about yourself. So, coming out of uni then, like, what are you thinking? Because for me as well, so just to kind of put some more context on that, what I find is a lot of people who are, that way inclined typically also tend to be on the left side of politics, right? And when it comes to capitalism, making money is normally something that they kind of like stick their nose up to, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of that. I've had people say to me that kind of imply that it's morally questionable to be focusing on money, but really I'm focusing on the output that money can provide. Because going vegan, that was the first step. Once I had this vision of this is what I want to do, it led me to philosophy and exploring different philosophical ideas. What's right? Going to really deep niche questions in how to live a righteous life, and then how to most impactfully convey the message you want to share that can have the best long-term impact. And I decided that with my focus on business and my studies, my passion for wanting to share this message, and my feeling that money was a great way to affect positive change, I wanted to get rich, get wealthy, so that I could pump funds into meaningful projects, the kind of work that nobody pays for, but it's very important. Because I saw so many people relegating this passion of animal rights advocacy to a weekend hobby because they had to go to work to pay the bills. And therefore they couldn't make the most of the compound effect of improving their advocacy skills because they only spent a few hours a week doing it. But suppose I could get really rich, make a few million, whatever, and then fund some specialist activists to live their life and just full-time focus on developing their methods and build a team and a community of people to amplify this message more impactfully, even faster.
Wow. But that's very powerful. And you know what? What I noticed, when you were just talking there, I was like, this guy's really passionate about this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just literally comes through so much, bro. Like, it's crazy and it's really admirable to see. Do you know what I mean? Because I think everyone have to have something in life that they're that passionate about because it drives you, right? And again, it goes to talking about, we're going to come on to, work, business and all that stuff that you do. But again, it comes on to the, how monomaniacal you are about becoming successful. And like I said, it's not because of the money, it's because of what goals you actually attach to that money, like what you can achieve with that. And that just came up just then because like that means so much to you that you have to be successful to achieve that because you feel that that's going to take you towards, the type of world that you would actually like to see, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, cool. So, I mean, let's just rewind a little bit more. You spoke about going down the philosophy route and understanding, what is life, what's the way to live, a fulfilled life and all that. What did you find?
I want to live a life that inspires, that a kind of lifestyle that is easily replicable and highly positively influential. I don't want to drive supercars, live in a huge mansion, because that's not something that I don't see as greatly beneficial for society as a whole. And it's more achievable if I can, as in for most other people who want to kind of emulate the style of my advocacy, to do something that is more general. So I'm not sure if I phrased that the best way, but suppose you start a business that isn't particularly a vegan business, like at Airbnb management. What I'm doing is, you wouldn't think that's a vegan business. You think like a vegan cake stand or ethical clothing shop. But my thinking in this is that you start a business that isn't a stereotypical vegan business, and then you basically pull funds from the general economy by taking money, providing a service or selling products, doing it in an ethical way, a vegan way, and then redirecting those funds into I call it the veg economy, as in, because I'm going to spend it in vegan companies and things like that. And just kind of growing the veg economy in a way that is easily replicable for others who want to copy this style.
I love that. So you're saying, actually, you're sort of pulling back and looking at everything holistically and saying, well, actually, it doesn't... And I heard someone called, I don't know if you heard of, if you haven't, you should look into him, Shamath Palihapitiya, all right? You know him, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go, all right? And he was... But he was coming from a political side. He's, left on his politics. He's actually shifted a bit more to the middle now. But he was left on his politics. And I remember years ago him saying, listen, here's the right side of politics. these people are rich, they got money, they're using their money to influence the world, and they're using their money to influence media and to push their worldview on the rest of us, while you're on this side and you're protesting and you're angry and you're pissed off and you don't want to make money and you don't want to do that. That ain't going to get you nowhere, right? It's like, so what I'm going to do, so he's a billionaire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make money, right? And I'm going to use my money to put into media, to put my worldviews out there, my worldview that's also going to combat their worldviews. And then now, we can have this ideological, debate on a grand scale because we are also able to compete at the same level. Otherwise, this ideology is just going to win, right? And that's kind of what you're saying. You're like, well, look, I can show people a way where they can say, okay, well, in my own little way, doesn't matter. Maybe I'm even doing a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, but through that 9 to 5, maybe I can influence the organization in certain ways that they're going to do things a little bit differently, right? And then I'm not able to, maybe hopefully I go up in the organization and whatever little bit of extra funds I got, I can actually put into different courses and not looking at things in a holistic way and saying that there's different ways, because I think you sell yourself short there a little bit, because actually I know within your business, you actually do. I mean, listen, we have the same business. I don't do the stuff you do. You some of your profits goes towards fucking planting trees, like the stuff you use in your apartments. You're very, very meticulous about the quality of stuff you use in your apartments. The ethical nature of them. All of these things, like who you represent, is embodied in your business, all right? And if everyone who has the same beliefs as you actually did the same thing in their day-to-day, everything that they did, then it would actually, make your course go, faster, a lot quicker, wouldn't it?
Definitely. You could start any business. It could be a waste management business. Buy a truck and just don't hit any rabbits.
I like that. Cool, man. So how does someone like yourself then get into building a property business?
I got a friend called Bob who I met in
Is this
Swansea.
a joke? Bob.
No. Yeah, I met him in Swansea doing street activism, and he was a lecturer at the university, and we were good friends, are good friends, and he invited me to this seminar, property seminar, because he knew I had an interest in personal finance. I was doing business. So he said, come along. And it was a Robert Kiyosaki seminar. I was disappointed to see that Robert Kiyosaki himself wasn't there. It was a rep from his company. Even so, it got me intrigued in property and showed me the potential, showed me how much money people were making in the town I was in. Like it was a whole world of cliche, a whole world of opportunity opened up to my eyes. And I could see this path where you could get specialist training. You could make sure that you have the support, the mentors, the network, the community that would allow you to make informed decisions and generate wealth in a relatively risk-free manner, because you do the research, you make sure that it's going to work, and then you execute. And so that led me to explore more training academies. I shopped around a bit, went to all the free seminars I could find, and then decided I got to hold off until I graduate, because I didn't want to split my focus on property to the detriment of uni and then not get the degree. So I decided to just hold off, focus on the degree, get that out the way. And then by that time, I had some savings built up that I invested in a training company.
Wow. That's crazy. There's two really powerful lessons that I want people to understand from just that little 30-second what you just said there. Two really, really powerful lessons. First of all, the shiny penny syndrome. You said there was this world of opportunities that opened your eyes and you were super, super excited about all of them, right? You understood how much money could be made, how much money people around you were making, but you stopped. You said, no, I'm still at uni. Let me finish the uni first before I start. Not a lot of people can do that. Why did you make that decision? Why didn't you just go and start making money straight away?
Based on my prior experience in education, that I didn't get into the first sixth form at the school. The sixth form I got into, I didn't pass because I didn't give it enough energy. And I felt that to be really successful in this venture, I would have to devote a lot of my focus and time and energy into it. And I recently discovered this concept, a book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Really powerful book. It's that was another kind of philosophical exploration that We discussed it yesterday, actually. This idea is like you have this ball of energy, and if you are dispersing your energy in lots of different spaces, lots of directions, jack of all trades or master of one, like you got to make a decision. If you split your focus too much, you won't be spectacular at anything. But if you hold off, sacrifice opportunities, or just get rid of the clutter, declutter, find the focus, and go all in on one, then that's a way that you can maximize your chances of success.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful, and it's so true. But but I love that I didn't see that coming, but I love that you actually brought it up, because that is one thing that I really talk about. Alex Mosley actually speaks about this, and he uses this example. I'm guessing you're nodding, you've seen it, where he has this water and it's got all these different cups. It's like you put a bit into that, you put like nothing actually. None of those cups are full. None of them are actually getting you anywhere, right? And now this water's gone, right? But actually, if you just poured all of those back into that, now you've got a full cup, right? That's your full energy. Now you can actually go a lot further. Like, it makes a whole lot more sense. So I found that really powerful. The other thing that you said, first of all, how did you save? Because listen, I come from this coaching space. I know how much this mentorship costs, right? Yeah. But you said you managed to save up enough while at uni to actually look at, and that's another beautiful thing about having goals, because you knew, I've got to finish my uni, I've got to stay focused, but as soon as I come out of here, there is this world of opportunity that I'm going to chase, and I've already experienced it. I've gone out there, I know what it takes, I know what I'm going to need, and that's what allowed you to actually start saving, right? But how did you make money at uni? How did you manage that?
I had a part-time job working on the bar when I was at uni, and then this thing happened. COVID, have you heard of it?
No, what's that? Oh, yes, that, yeah.
Yeah, so the world was locked down, and I went back to my parents' house because university was closed. It was all online. So I was studying in my bedroom. I had the lectures recorded, and so I could study them in my own time. So I scheduled all of my work for uni into 4 days of the week, and then I got a part-time, call it part-time, it was 36 hours a week, almost full-time, working 3-day night shifts, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at a warehouse, just packing, picking, and driving this forklift. And that was a great opportunity that allowed me to save some good money, because, of course, the premium rate on the night shift. And also, I listened to so many audiobooks, like probably got through like 100 audiobooks, because you can finish 2 audiobooks in a night shift, 12 hours, 6 hours a book. You put it on 1.5 times speed, you can get through a lot. And yeah, I started just listening to so many audiobooks, and as well as learning. So I was learning, earning, and studying.
Incredible. That is so powerful, because a lot of people do these sort of things, but you're not thinking about what you can do in that time. I was at a networking event today, and I was speaking to this lady, and she said, I didn't know you had a podcast. I didn't know you had this as well. I was like, yeah, this is kind of what we do, because I was really excited about coming for this interview, right? So I was speaking to her about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I was saying, when I was doing this security work, when I first came to London, I was doing this security work, because she owns a security company. So we just kind of went down that road, and I'll be stood outside the door of this like really prestige places like Soho House. And I'm seeing these people coming in, mingling, doing the thing that I love doing, networking, chilling, like inside Soho House, this prestigious. This is what I wanted to be doing. And I'm at the freaking door, seeing them walk in to go and live my life. And I'm like, this is crazy. But I remember just sitting out there, standing out there, cold winter's night like this, freezing. Obviously, I had my jacket on, hat, gloves, all of that sort of stuff. But I wasn't there, bro. I was just visualizing, dreaming, seeing the places where I wanted to be. And it helped that I was outside those doors looking at those people going in, because my life was in front of me every second. I was able to really see it, right? Made the dream more vivid. And it just like, you just have to be able to see past, where you currently are to achieve, what you actually want to achieve. Because if you can't see past where you are, then how are you going to achieve anything, right? Crazy.
On that same note, I had the opposite effect in this warehouse, because it was a huge warehouse, so many people working there. And there are people who have been working there for many years and don't have any vision of leaving, and they're content with their lifestyle. And that's fine. They can be happy with their lifestyle. But I was aware that people assimilate with their environment. And, if you communicate with enough people who are content with not progressing their lifestyles, their careers, their ambitions, that's going to kind of rub off on me or deteriorate my vision of what's possible for myself, which further motivated the desire to reclude to my headphones and these audiobooks.
Let me just focus on what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't want to really, you know what I'm saying? I don't want that bad energy. Stay far away. Yeah. I heard that. Cool. So, you've come out of that, you've got this money, and, I'm guessing you invested. Like, what did you do next? What was the next path for you? Once you'd finished uni and come out of all of that.
I went to the first paid event. Didn't realize that there would be an upsell. I thought I was going to get a good course for that, but there was a
welcome
£7,000 further investment, and I thought, oh, I can stomach it. I was hesitant because I thought, well, if I spend all my money on training, I won't have any money to do my first rent-to-rent deal. And that's the strategy I was going for. I decided from the training was to focus on a rent-to-rent rental arbitrage model where I rent a property from a landlord, sublet it on a night-by-night basis using the serviced accommodation strategy for a profit. And that typically would take 5-6K, depending on the standard type of property and whatnot, which the training eliminated my savings. And I did it because I had the confidence to burn the bridge, so to speak, because if I find a good enough deal, I'll find the money. And I did.
How difficult was it for you to make that decision? And why did you make that decision?
It was tough because it was time bound. It was like, you got to make a decision right away. You're very aware there are these sales tactics that I've become more cognizant of over time. And very good salespeople, people who know how to get you to hand over your money. And
it's a skill. Listen, it's a skill. Look, listen, people. Yeah, I'm just being real. I was working at this company that Don's talking about. I was one of these salespeople, that was having this conversation. So I know exactly what Don's talking about. Hence why I went back to say when we first sat down. But I saw the ability in this man. Right? I knew. Remember, I was sitting there, I was going like, did I tell you? Because I normally say to people, so when I see someone who's got talent and ability, I normally say to them, did I tell you?
Can't
remember. Because I remember saying to my colleagues, definitely, I think I would have told you because it's just, I always, when I see it, I'm like, your future is very bright. Not all of them go on to actually, fulfill their potential, but I can see the people that have got the potential, and I always try to, help them and give them extra assistance because I know, listen, the full assistance that you need might not be here, but if you come to me, I'll give you a helping hand. You know what I mean? Crazy, man.
You probably did say that. Maybe I felt that they just said that to everyone.
So I'm just going to block that one off. I genuinely don't. I say to the people that I genuinely feel like, listen, because look, we get to see so many people. That's the truth. And a lot of people just don't want to do what it takes to actually achieve success. And that's the sad part of, for someone like myself who's not a coach and a mentor myself, is the sad part because, hopefully you can attest to the fact that I give everything, right? To try to help my students actually achieve the goals. But you can't want it more for someone than they want it for themselves, right?
That old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but can't make them drink.
Absolutely. Right. And the unfortunate nature of this game is a lot of people want success because a lot of people, because of the world out there, a lot of people want financial freedom, they want autonomy, they want to be able to, do what they want when they want. But then obviously when the reality of what it takes to achieve that hits you in the face, then it's like, actually, I want to die, but I don't know if I'm willing to do to do this stuff, you know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. But okay, cool. But you made that decision, and then what kind of what happens next? Like, was it fruitful? Was it the right decision? Like, how did everything manifest?
No regrets. Like, if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't have gone down that route.
Okay.
Because I wasn't aware of the other strategy that I'm now focusing on. And but it was a fantastic stepping stone. Okay. Led on to bigger and better things. Allowed me to tap into a network. Many of the people I'm still in contact with, and we're working together. So yeah, no regrets at all.
Okay, brilliant. So let's talk about that. What you just spoke about the strategy. So because at that company, what the focus is something called rent to rent, which you've articulated. So rent to rent is where you find a landlord who, perhaps maybe they're distressed, or, perhaps they don't really want to manage the properties, hence why they give it to estate agents to manage for. Then you can say, hey, well, instead of giving it to the estate agent, why don't you give it to me? I'll sign a contract with you for the next 3 years. You've got no worries at all. I'll become the tenant. But then we have a clause on the contract that allows me to sublet the property, and then you then put them on platforms like Airbnb, Booking.com, rent them out for 1 or 2 nights. You make all the margin on top of it. Happy days, everyone's happy, right? So that was the strategy. I mean, how did that kind of work out for you?
It definitely has its advantages. You can, if you go into the benefits of it, like the extended term with no void periods where they're not going to lose the rental income, free maintenance up to a certain threshold to save them time and money, and it's probably something else that escapes our mind, but it was when I discovered the alternative strategy, which is albeit less fruitful for myself as just a managing agent rather than the person taking on more of the risk and reward. The main benefit of the management option, as in you still use the property for the same thing, you still put it on Airbnb and do everything that you would do if you were to rent and sublet it, but the risk and reward is different. That's passed on to the landlord. There's suddenly so much more value that you're giving to the landlord, and theoretically you can scale a lot faster, and I'm certainly finding that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because from a value standpoint, what you're saying to the landlord is, well, look, the reason why this person is offering to sign a contract with you for 3 years is because, heard the numbers, this is how much they're actually going to make. But you're struggling. Your mortgage interest rates just went up. You're trying to find a way to bridge that gap between the rent you're getting versus how much you have to pay in mortgage. It's stressful because there's a market cap on what you can rent your properties for, right? Yeah. Well, we have a solution that can solve that problem. Instead of us just paying you rent and then having all these margins to ourselves, well, why don't we solve your problem, which is we will actually manage it all for you. So everything we generate is yours. You then pay us handsomely, all right, for our service, of offering that to you. But nonetheless, you're still going to be walking away, in a much better off situation than if you just rented it to us, because guess what? It's your assets. You're the one that made the investment, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever. You made that investment in yourself, so you should actually reap the rewards.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that opens up a lot more doors, right? I mean, how was that? Because we set a goal. You said, oh, bro, I want to come on your podcast. How can we do that? And I was like, bro, hit 10, right? Like, hit 10 properties, and then we can make that happen. And this conversation was, when did you switch from the rent-to-rent model to the management model?
February. But I was laying the groundwork from around this time last year, November time.
Yeah, November time. And then when did you join my academy?
I was the first one on, February.
Yeah, literally the first guy around. And from that point to now, you're here, right?
From 2 to 10.
Yeah.
5x.
Yeah. 5x.
In 9 months.
9 months. Same strategy. How long were you doing the rent-to-rent strategy for before?
A year and a half.
So for a year and a half, two properties, and then in 9 months, 10 properties, all right? Absolutely incredible. That is just insane. And, because when I went on this journey to say, well, why the hell are people doing the things this way? It makes no sense. I knew I had the skills and the abilities to go out there and build my own business this way, right? But what was really important for me was, am I able to transfer this knowledge to other people so they can do the same as well? And just seeing the success of people like yourselves, Covia, Chaim, all these other people is just so incredible. And it's really, really good because we're also adding value to the marketplace. Sometimes like we're making money and building and growing our businesses, you're helping these landlords in these times when it's really, really difficult for them as well. And that's actually why it goes so quickly. Because I always say, the amount of value you would know that, I don't know how many times you've heard me say this on the coaching course, right? Like, the amount of value you put out in the marketplace will determine how much money you actually make.
Yep.
The more people you help, the more money you make. Crazy idea, right?
Crazy. It's worth noting that the first landlord I worked with on a rent-to-rent basis took me about 200, 300 outreaches, that's calls to agents, messages to landlords, so several hundred attempts to find a deal, found this guy, and worked with him for about a year until he said, I'm selling the property, not making enough money. And at that point, I was aware of the management strategy. I said, hang on, before you sell, hold your horses. Let's consider another option. How about I don't make so much money and you make more money? And then he was happy with that, funnily enough.
Yeah, funny enough, right? Like, hang on, you're making sense, mate. Do you know what I mean? But that is the perfect example, and that's why when people talking about the rent-to-rent versus the management model, for me, is just a no-brainer, because when you also look at the level of risk that you're taking, what is it? Time, because no more rent, no more deposit, no more furniture costs. You ain't gonna worry about all of that. Right? Because they're not investing in their future, these landlords, right? And you're coming in and you're just managing all of that for them. So now all of a sudden, someone who's just come out of uni, for example, wants to grow a really big business, really, really ambitious, just like you are, don't have 6-7 grand to be putting down on each individual unit. If we looked at that to get to 10 units, you're talking at what, minimum 60, 70, 80K, right? Investment. Now, where am I getting that money from? But now you're able to scale to that level without having to put a pen of your own money in. But yet every single month you've got this, recurring revenue coming in.
That's it. The margins are so huge with the management model. Compare that to the rent to rent. Let's say your rent is a conservative £1,500. You're making £1,500 profit on a monthly basis, average throughout the year. Now, you've got this high rent roll. If you take on 10 properties, your rent roll is £15,000. And if you have a couple bad months in the winter, suddenly demand drops, suddenly there's another lockdown, you can't make the money, you're bankrupt. But with management, because you just take a cut of whatever comes in and your margins are just a bit of software fees, maybe £40 a month per unit, you're in a much safer position to scale confidently without the risk of going bankrupt.
Absolutely. That's crazy, bro. But bro, like, we're talking about 10, right? But we speak all the time. Like, your pipeline is crazy.
Yep. Probably going to have at least 2 more in the next month, 12. Potentially, there's just so many. It's hard to know what's going to materialize until it gets nearer the time that it's ready, or that they've raised the funds to actually invest in it. And I've had a fair few fall through, but I'm still scaling. I'm finding more faster than I'm losing them.
Absolutely. And remember we had the conversation. I said, no, don't worry about all of these things. You just got to keep that pipeline. You got to keep doing what you're doing to get the pipeline, because as business owners, what we do, we have the propensity to say, oh, I've got all these deals now, so let me focus on doing all of this, and I've got to set this up and set that up, and then we'll stop doing the things that we did in the first place to get those deals coming through. And then by the time you finish setting up, you realize, oh, there's nothing in the pipeline. Right, and then you have to start again. But as long as you just keep doing that, and continuously, because listen, it happens. Deals will fall off all the time. That's normal. But like I said, as long as you're getting more deals coming through than the deals that are falling off. And when we say deals fall off, it just means, what we thought was going to come on didn't actually come on. It's not as if it's a deal you had and then it's actually falling off. But it's like, if I've got 5 deals in the pipeline and then I actually bring on 2 of them, cool. Right, as long as I've got another 5 deals, so even if another 3 fall off, the other 2 is going to come on as well. And it's crazy, bro. You're going to end the year with 10 additional properties in 10 months.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? You said that with a big smile on your face.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal, come to think of it. Just thinking about how, because I've kept things so tight, as in finance-wise, I haven't been spending very much. I've been keeping my costs, my liabilities very low while I get this business started, and haven't really felt the freedom to go and splash out and do nice things, get nice stuff for so long since uni, when I had all these savings. But I'm seeing that next year is going to be a very lucrative year, and it's exciting.
I love it, bro. So what's the next steps?
Just keep focusing on scaling with more properties. I want to get to 25 at the end of next year, which is just over doubling. If I can 5x in 1 year, I can 2x in the next year.
But that's the thing, though, right? Because it's about, all people don't understand, it's about, I think it's Einstein that said compound interest is the 7th or the 8th wonder of the world. Because I remember when you guys first started, I said this to everyone, our goal in the next 3 months is not what's going to happen in the next 3 months. but is what you do. It's not how much property, sorry, you get in the next 3 months, but what you do in the next 3 months is going to set your business up for the rest of its life. Right? Because all of those relationships you're building, all of those things that it doesn't all of a sudden go away by the end of term, right? It doesn't have to go away by the end of the year. They're still there. And the ones that had nothing for you 12 months ago, all of a sudden, you do that, yeah, I've got someone for you, right? Oh yeah, I've got, all of a sudden, one day you can get 5 properties, right? Just come, I'm sure that's happened to you already.
I've got a few blocks in the pipeline.
Absolutely.
It could materialize. I could be taking on 5-10 units soon, like at once.
And it just comes at once, and all of a sudden, well, maybe you double your portfolio in one deal, right? But that's the thing. So even though these numbers might sound, so what? You did 10 this year, you think you're gonna do 15 next year? Well, yeah, that's only an extra 50%, right? When you think about if you 5x this year, well, why can't you add another 50% next year? Like exactly, realistically, right? So I mean, how exciting is that?
Super exciting. Also, passing on the operations to staff. Because growing the business, getting more income allows me to reinvest in the business and detach myself from it. And I've already got a couple virtual assistants on board. They're helping with content creation, operations, keeping guests happy, communicating between all the contractors and cleaners and general admin stuff to expand the business and make it easier for me. And just throughout the day, I see things happening between the cleaners and the guests, and the VA is just on it. I'm just watching him do my work for me.
How cool is that to have staff?
Really good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you feel like I've got. There's one thing you doing it, but then when you've got a team, like you said, you see like because you're in groups and stuff, you just see what happening. You're like, it's like I've got a business now, right? This is proper.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still making money. But I'm not having to answer this question. I'm not having to respond to that guest. I'm not having to, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you still see the workload coming through, but you're just not having to do anything for it, right? How does that feel?
It's crazy exciting because thinking as I grow, I get more and more stuff. I get someone on the ground, a gopher, someone who can zip between the properties, resupply, check on maintenance things, and go help guests out if they lose the spare set of keys or whatever happens. That's one of my next goals is to get somebody doing the
like an
groundwork.
operations manager, right?
Yeah, because I've got the virtual assistant from abroad, but they can't go to the property when needed. So that's like a physical in-person operations manager to look after the properties.
Beautiful, bro. I can't say enough, man. I'm so proud of you. Was really, really beautiful to see someone actually living up to their potential. And if I'm honest, I don't know if it's gonna sound harsh, but I don't feel like you're anywhere near your potential yet, bro.
No.
Like you're fucking like your potential, genuinely, bro, is very fucking high. Like it's limitless. It's just gonna depend on you how far you really want to go. Do you know what I'm saying? But as long as you want to keep going, you've definitely got that capacity. And it's a joy and a beauty to actually see that happening and manifesting in your life. And you know I'm there for you, bro. You know, anytime you need whatever, I'm there, man. It's super, super exciting. This has been a really, really enjoyable conversation for me. Just, you know, having you on here and going through your story and having a little bit about getting to know you a little bit more, you know, about your story and your journey as well. And sharing that with the audience. But as you know, we've got a tradition. Can't believe we've come to the end, man. Sad times. So the final question. So the first one is, what does success actually mean to you? And the final question is, with everything that you've now achieved, right? I remember, if I'm not mistaken, when we first spoke, I think your goal was something like 2K a month or 3K a month or something like that. Right? Like this was like when you literally first started about 2 years ago or something like that, right? Which is, think about that, that's just crazy, right? That's mad.
Chump change.
But you know what I'm saying? But it just goes to show, you got to start somewhere. But with all of the successes that you've now achieved, bro, like what remains your need to succeed?
My drive to help those who can't help themselves.
Can you expand on that?
The animals. Yeah, I see this group of beings, that sentient beings, just like us. They love their families. They want to live. They want to be free from harm and suffering and pain. And they didn't ask for anything bad to happen to them. They can't consent to the things we do to them. And I think the world would be a lot nicer if we just stamped out oppression as much as we can in our day-to-day lives. And for such a simple shift, it's something we can all do. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
The property done, Mr. Don Jeevy. Thank you very much, my friends.
Thank you.
You are listening to the Need to Succeed podcast with Ibrahim Brahma. Make sure to like and subscribe for more episodes like this.